Join the conversation at Corporate Governance Platform.
Showing on Mitv UHF 43 and channel 255 on DSTV on Thursdays from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform, proudly brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria.
ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
Straight away. There is no money.
For the effectiveness of Board of Directors,
Sustainability of business,
importance of ethics and corporate brand,
roles and responsibilities of Chartered Secretary,
and for all that you need to know about the principles and practices of corporate governance.
join the conversation at Corporate Governance Platform.
Showing on Mitv UHF 43 and channel 255 on DSTV on Thursdays from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform, proudly brought to you by the Institute. Mitv, Corporate Governance Platform. Corporate Governance Platform is proudly brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals. And we are transmitting live from Mitv Lagos. I am Dr. Tunde Odeyemi, and today on the show we are going to be having conversation on the role of external auditors on the integrity of corporate financial reporting. Of course, the role of external auditors on the integrity of corporate financial reporting. And to do justice to this particular topic, to lead in the conversation, is a very distinguished member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, Mr. Chris Ayako. Mr. Chris Ayako is a governance professional and practitioner. He is a chartered accountant and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. Of course, an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. Mr. Ayako is a managing consultant with ZINAC Professionals and, of course, the coordinator of ICSAN Lecture Center in Lekki Phase 1. Mr. Chris Ayako is happily married with lovely children. Mr. Ayako, it's nice to have you on Corporate Governance Platform.
Same here. Good evening. God bless you.
Thank you very much for obliging our request to come on the show, to come and discuss this very important topic, the role of external auditors on the integrity of corporate financial reporting. Let me start this conversation by asking you, what exactly are the roles of external auditors, and distinguish it from the roles of internal auditors?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Deyemi. External auditors are professional accountants that are into audit, and the audit they handle is pure in-depth examination into financial statement prepared by directors of companies. So the role of the external auditor, as it has to do with this audit, is basically to ascertain, one, whether the financial statements were prepared in line with relevant accounting standards, like international financial standard, and also to see whether the financial statement actually show a true and fair view of the financial position of the company. To actually look at the line between the two, internal audit is not an audit that is actually commanded, so to speak, by regulations. It's not being regulated by a camera that the company must have it. So it's basically an independent appraiser into the activities of organizations, looking at their control, the control system and compliance status.
Okay, so any company that desires not to engage an external auditor is free to do so if it is not a compliance thing or
not external, internal.
Internal, okay, internal.
Yeah, internal, yes.
Okay, but external is
is statutory.
Is statutory.
Yes.
Companies must do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Before I go into the next question, I want to use this opportunity to invite our viewers to be part of the show. And to be part of the show or to contribute on this particular show, you only need to send a text message to ask question or to make comment. Please send your text message to 080-2323-1287. Only text message, please, to 080-2323-1287. Your messages or your questions will be read out, and please kindly put your name on the text message. I'll take the number for the last time: 080-2323-1287. And we are discussing the role of external auditors on the integrity of corporate financial reporting. And of course, we have our guest in the studio, Mr. Chris Ayako, ACIS. Yes, we have made us to understand what the external auditors do, and of course we also distinguish it from what the internal auditors do. Now, is there any link between external audit functions and risk management?
Absolutely, yes. Very, very close link. Yeah. If you look at the role of external auditors, their role also includes an inquest into the guidelines, into the guidelines, the safety policies of the organization, okay? And in risk management, basically, the duty of the risk management department is to, having identified and appraise certain risks that the company is exposed to, is to come up with measures to control those risks, the PRS minimum. Now, the external auditor, in the course of his job, if he comes across anything that appears to be inimical to the success or growth of the organization, which of course we look at it as a risk factor, then automatically you also have to report. So you can see that they work together. And of course, if the mitigants put in place by the risk management department are not effective enough according to the opinion of the external auditor, he will make recommendations so that they will be more effective. Okay,
so the external auditors in one way or the other is also part of the risk management function.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Now, we have seen a lot of financial reports, corporate financial reports. Some use different kinds of words: doctored, mismanaged report. And we have seen a lot of examples. Even on this program, our guests have shared on this program how some reports have actually affected some organizations. Now, how can external auditors guarantee or ensure the integrity of financial statements?
Thank you, sir. There's what we call independence of the external auditor.
Okay.
For us to be able to have that assurance that all is well, based on their findings, which will be given in their opinion, then automatically those auditors must be guaranteed their independence. And if that independence is not there, then automatically, to a large extent, they will be like pooper in the hands of the directors. Do not forget, he that pays the piper detects the tune. So for you to be able to have that the external auditor will be able to give us assurance of the success and otherwise and security of the organization, automatically the first step is to ensure that they get their independence to the fullest.
Okay, we understand that the external auditors must have independence to be able to operate independently. But how can they have this independence?
Well, if you look at CAMA very well, or the law regulating businesses in Nigeria, which is CAMA, there is a board. An individual cannot appoint external auditors. It is the board that will appoint the board of directors, and this board of directors will do the appointment based on the recommendation of the audit committee. And the audit committee is composed of professionals, people that are professionals that actually will know that yes, this is a good audit firm, and that it will follow this route, will be able to give the auditors independence. And to a large extent, they try to ensure that the MD will not single-handedly have influence on the external auditor to the extent that he will influence them to play his script also is applicable to the chairman. So the external auditor, to be able to have his independence, he reports to the audit committee. He communicates to audit committee, who will take his report down to the board. Good.
Okay, in a situation whereby we are just looking at scenarios, things that could happen.
Okay.
In a situation whereby the reports of the external auditor indicts the board, will the external auditor still submit that report to the audit committee to go to the board? What can happen?
In most cases, you see, the way the audit process is, the external audit process, like I use the word process, is not a one-off thing. Don't forget, it covers a 12-month period, right? And in the course of doing their audit work, when the external auditor discovers anything that in the best interest of he knows that this thing is inimical to the sustainability of the organization, they will write to the management. And what will they tell the management? Look, we have discovered this, and if this continues, then it will not go well with the company. Therefore, we are giving this recommendation. So I'm saying this to let us understand that it is not automatic that the external auditor issues a report that is indicting the director. It is when the directors have failed to implement the recommendations and on issues that are called or considered material issues. Issues that are not material will not, in fact, the authority will just advise and move away.
Okay, it is just now that I understand this. The role of the functions of external is not a one-off thing.
It's not.
They must have been doing it, and along the line, make some recommendations to the management, and if these are not carried out, that's when they now come up with their final report. Okay, you mentioned the other time true and fair view of the financial statement. So what is the meaning of true and fair view of the financial statement, and what is the relevance to corporate governance?
Okay, the concept of true and fair view. Let's look at accountants together with their auditors' counterparts. Also, the directors are not Superman. They are not Jesus Christ. So we cannot say that they are 100% free of error, right? So if they prepare financial statement, we expect that the financial statement should be very, very close to the true position of things, okay, in reality. For example, you have reported in your statement of financial position, which is balance sheet, you reported that the fixed asset, total value of non-current asset is 1 billion naira, so to speak. When you go to find out that asset, let's assume it's land we are talking about, the economic reality, the net realizable value of that, the market value of that land, is it really 1 billion, or is it close to 1 billion, or a little bit above 1 billion? If it is close to 1 billion, a little bit above or below 1 billion, we say it's true and fair. But when it is materially diverted from what we are saying, then automatically it is no longer true and fair. So true and fair view say that, well, in a nutshell, it is fair. What the report they say they have given is fair. We are not saying that it's 100%, but it is up to 90-something%. So anybody, when I mean anybody, I'm talking about users of financial statement, they can rely on that report and make informed decisions.
Okay, there is this provision, I think it's also in the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, NCCG of 2018, that says that engagement of external auditors in a company should not be more than 10 years, continuous service for no more than 10 years, after which there will be a 7 years cool-off period before they can be re-engaged. What is the rationale behind this particular provision, and what is its benefit to corporate governance?
Okay, you see, external auditors are professionals that will come and form an opinion, what we call independent opinion on the financial statement. And when they have put that opinion, everybody can depend or rely on those financial statements. Now, they are human beings and they interfaces with the board of directors. And by the time they stay too long, do not forget, there is an adage that says that familiarity breeds contempt. So by the time they stay so long, for 10 years and above, they are still there, chances are they will begin to get closer and closer to the board of directors, and to a large extent their independence will begin to water away. So it is wrong for you to keep them for so long. If you look at some cases that we have witnessed corporate scandals and corporate collapses, we saw that the auditors lasted for too long and established a very tight relationship with the directors. So that is not correct. And the essence of that cooling period, of course, is to ensure that at all times the auditor on board have their independence, and until they have their independence, they will not be able to issue a professional, independent and objective opinion.
And you don't think the 10 years of continuous service is just too long?
Well, the reason why I will not want to say it's too long, the auditors have made a statement here. They are not spirits, right? And let's look at some big organizations, multinationals.
Okay.
For you to be an auditor, to be able to issue quality financial statement or report or audit opinion, automatically you would have understood the nature of the business of that organization to a very large extent. Now, if you stay only 2, 3, 4 years, you might not be able to. And until you have stayed for like 7 to 10 years, that's when you'll be able to understand the business of your client. And when you do that, then issuing of opinion becomes seamless. So I don't think the 10 years is too much.
It's too okay. Okay. What then is the import of restricting external auditors from providing non-audit services to an organizations they work for?
Okay, if you look at the job of external auditor, basically they are cross-checking what has been done. And their cross-checking that has been done is what has been done by the board, so to speak, right? Because Kama said that directors are people appointed to manage the affairs of the company. Now, if you allow external auditors to also render non-audit services to the same client, what you are simply doing is that you are simply asking the external auditor to go and review or audit or cross-examine what they have done. And if that is the case, one thing that will happen is that they will lose their independence. And at the end of the day, you will see that the external auditors are reviewing the job of the external auditor. For instance, you ask an external auditor to be the one to prepare your financial statement. Of course, they can do that. They have the training to do that. But for us to be able to guarantee their independence, it is not allowed. It is not allowed. If you allow them to do that, then it is very unlikely that the external auditor will say, oh, this is wrong. Because if you do that, for example, I am Chris. I am an external auditor and I'm auditing you. And I'm the one that prepared the financial statement. If I say that what I prepare is wrong, it is very unlikely that I will tell you that I will report that financial statement is wrong because I prepared it. So to avoid what we call in audit or in corporate governance self-review, the external auditor should not be allowed to handle any non-audit function that have the potential to make him to self-review himself.
Okay, I just received a text from Mr. Kola Lawal here. He said, you just made a statement that some external audits have made some companies to be involved in corporate scandal and led to the collapse of those companies. Now, what should be done to those external auditors that are involved in this corporate scandal?
They are not above the law. And I am a chartered accountant. I'm a member of ICANN. ICANN have a disciplinary committee, just like ICSAN. ICSAN also have a disciplinary committee. So, and ICANN is, these professional bodies are number one regulators that regulate their members. So when they err, then they should be dealt with. So if an auditor, if it is known and established that an auditor connive with the board or any management staff to do things that are unethical, and as a result it had negative effect on the company, then automatically it should be dealt with. according to law. There are laws that will deal with them.
They should be dealt with.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the other time I said, why is it that some external auditors were restricted from doing